Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video on how to create a form in AEM Forms. So creating forms is a really easy process that can take only just minutes depending on the size or the complexity of the form. So today we'll be just creating an adaptive form. We will then take a look at how to make that form dynamic, and we'll look at some of the different configurations we can apply to different fields on our form. So let's get started. So we're just going to create a basic form that gathers some basic information like someone's name, maybe their birth date, email address, and maybe their telephone number as well. So to get to where we create our forms, I'm currently on the Adobe Experience Manager or AEM homepage, and we want to click on this Forms tab right here at the top right. And once we click on that, we are presented with a few different options. We can go into Forms and Documents to create our forms, themes to make a theme like a PowerPoint theme. Maybe our organization desires we have a certain color scheme that we want to apply to different forms. And with data integrations, we can actually make a config or connection to a database if we wanted to. Um, so for now, we're going to go into Forms and Documents. And from here, we can see a few different forms I already have created. And we can go to this top right button where it says Create. We'll click that, and we can see a few different options from here. But we're just going to go into the Adaptive Form option. And from here, we're presented with a few different templates. These top three on the left, they actually came out of the box with AEM, and these other templates are custom templates, so we can actually create custom templates if we want to make it easier on our content creators or form creators to make their form, and that way everything could look consistent. But we're going to start with a blank form, and I'll select the blank option or the blank form template option. And then I'll click next. And then from here, I can start changing the properties of the actual form. So I can give it a title. I'll just call this YouTube demo. Let's do one. I think I already have one that's called YouTube demo. And I'll just do one. We can add a description if we want. If we have a theme we want on this form, we can apply it here. And we're just going to keep it as is for now. And we're going to click on the create button at the top right. All right, so now that it's been created successfully, we can click on the edit button. All right, so now we are on the form editor screen, and now we want to go ahead and drag and drop some components onto our form to start building our form. And I can go to the Components tab, which is on the left-hand side. It has a little plus sign with a box around it. And once I click that, I can see all the different components that come out of the box. And if I don't see a component that really fits what I need to do, I can actually make a custom component if desired. So I can drag and drop a title onto my form. And then from here, I can edit the form title to say what I want it. I can click this pencil looking icon or the edit button and change form title just to basic form for now. Basic form. And then I can click this check mark to save my settings. And now that has been changed. Then from here, I also want to add in a name field box. So there is a component called the text box where I can input information. So I can just drag and drop that onto my form. And I can go to the this wrench looking icon or the configure button, and I can click on this. And once I click on this, I can see all the different properties for my form. I can see I can change the title right here as well. So I can call this name. And then I can click this check mark at the top to apply my settings. And we can see that that text box title has been changed to name. Then I can add in placeholder text. So I can say, enter your name. And I can also make this a required field. And I can apply that. And so by making it a required field, that means this field has to be filled out before being submitted. If the end user tries to submit the form without filling out this field, they'll be prompted with an error message saying that they need to fill out this field, and they won't be allowed to submit the form until they fill out that field. And that's the only thing I'm going to change in this field, but we'll get into some of these other properties in a few moments. So the next field I want to add in is a date input field. And there is actually one that comes out of the box, and I can just drag and drop that over to my form. And then the only thing I want to change here is the title of this field to just say birth date. So we can get the user's birth date. And I could actually go into the configuration settings and make this a required field if I wanted to. So I'll apply my settings, and I'll add in one more field, which will be a phone number field where the end user can enter in their phone number so we could contact them if we want. And there's actually a telephone component that comes out of the box, but I actually want to start this from scratch, and I can actually use the text box field or the text box component, and I can go into the configuration settings, and I can go change the title to phone number and add in placeholder text and make this required field. I can apply my settings. And so right now, if we were to try to fill out this field, so let me go to preview. So we could enter in a phone number, and it'll allow us to enter it in. We can actually even enter in more digits than we want to, and that's actually going to cause some issues for us at the moment. And another issue with this particular field is that we can actually type in letters, and the field will accept that input. So to kind of validate, to make sure that the user has entered in a correctly formatted phone number, we can go into the configuration settings of that phone number field. We can scroll down to patterns. There is a patterns tab, and when we click on that, we can select to display to let the field display a phone number pattern, so we could actually easily read the phone number we typed in, and we can actually also validate to make sure that the inputted information matches that of the pattern. So when we apply the changes, we can go back to the preview mode. And so now, when we try to enter in a phone number, it formats it in a nice, easy way to read it. Before, it was just a bunch of numbers in a line. You can't really tell how many digits we put in, or if the phone number was correct. And so now, if we forget a digit, let's say we only enter in 9, we're going to get an error message saying that the field is not filled in a expected format. And same thing if we enter in letters, they'll say not filled in an expected format. So it does want us to make sure we enter in a phone number in the correct format. And we could change that error message as well if we desire. So the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the edit mode, and I'm going to add in a submit button. So we give our users a way to actually submit the form. And there's one that comes out of the box right here. I can just drag and drop that onto my form at the bottom. And now to configure what happens once the form is submitted, I actually would not configure the settings for this actual submit button. I would actually go up to this content tab at the top left, and I would go into the configuration or the property settings for the form container itself. Now once that is selected, there is a submission button at the bottom. I can select that, and from here I can change the submit action or what happens after the form is submitted. So by default it submits to a REST endpoint, and maybe we want that to happen. It really just depends on our certain environment we're working with. And there's also some other options here. We can have it send an email out. Once it's submitted, we can have the form turn into a PDF and attach itself to an email and send that to a specific email address. We can start a AEM workflow, or we could submit it to a form data model. So if we have it connected with a database, we can have the information that was inserted into the form inserted into the database. But I'm just going to keep it at the REST endpoint for now. So I'll apply my settings, and I'll go to preview, and we can fill out this form. So right off the bat, if I click submit, it's going to give me a lot of errors saying this field is required, and it won't let me submit the form until I fill out the fields. So I'll enter my name, I'll enter in a birth date, and I'll enter in a phone number. All right, so I have a green line indication by each one of these fields saying that um, what I've entered in, they will accept it. It's correct in terms of the validation aspect of the form. And now I can submit it. So once I click submit, I'm going to get a thank you for submitting this form dialog, and that'll be it for that process. So I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. Please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, and have a nice day.